Dave, welcome to the podcast.
It's back. Look
Uh,
at that. How exciting. Man, don't you think you're being a little hard on yourself?
well, I mean, your team sucks so bad that if I lose to you, I feel worse.
Well, you know,
You know what I mean? I mean, doesn't that make sense? Like it's not like I lost to Adam or I lost to Junior, lost to Rennie. I lost to you, and your
that's
team's
true.
terrible.
And you talked a big game with
Well,
your
I
spotlight
sh- I,
matchup nonsense.
I should have. Be- How was I supposed to know my wide receivers weren't going to score any points?
That's like
If
your bread and butter.
Yeah, like if your team's built on one thing, and then all of a sudden you don't do that one thing, that's
I
a
even had, my trademark first series wide receiver injury.
yeah. No, no, you are who I thought you were. So, uh, uh,
Well, guess what? I am ready for this week. You know why?
because it's Thanksgiving.
Does this tell you anything?
Uh,
What I'm ready for?
I hope it's that you got a cold and that your nose is dried out.
Oh, I don't think so.
No. Oh, Dave. Oh,
Yeah, you might
Dave.
need to crack open a couple of those.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
So yeah, I'm starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Gonna be a hard one.
All right, Dave. What? No pun. That's what she said.
No, none at all.
Um. All right, let's jump right in. I'll set you up, Dave. Week 11, a lot of great matchups. Who is your Miller Time team of the week?
Man, this was tough, and I feel like no matter what, I'm gonna make somebody mad.
Yeah.
But the underdog stories is not that this matchup was an underdog story, but it'd be easy to give it to Adam. It'd be easy to give it to Rennie. They both scored in the 120s, but they're both pretty locked in on playoffs and stuff. So I got to go with Josh. He scored in the 120s. He needed a win. He still has a chance, not mathematically eliminated by any means.
Only his second 100 point scoring week.
The magic number, right?
Yeah.
That you talked about, last week.
Well, and poor Lee, he was the victim of a 100 point loss. So it happens, right? We had 8 of them, now we got 9 of them. So, but they're pretty rare.
I really thought for a bit that the 121.6 was going to hold up because he had finished before even the Sunday night game, and then he just saw a lot of points pass him up.
Yeah.
So we'll go Josh. Gives himself a chance to be relevant this season. 3 weeks left. He can still get to the magic 7 wins if he wins out. And I think now I'm starting to waver on whether you have to have 7 wins.
Yeah.
Because I think that 8th spot could be it's possible that points and 6 could do it.
Yeah, okay. So for the hillbilly of the week, I believe that did we give it to Brian last week in a victory because he didn't start 2 players?
I think you did.
All right. Dave, I need you to turn your camera off and turn it back on again because you're frozen with your mouth closed. Hey, there you are. You're back. You're back.
What is the problem?
I don't know, but it was a really funky. You took a drink and then you were frozen. No, like that. So you're back.
I should just do this periodically.
Yeah. Man, Brian even filled out a full. That's gonna be terrible. Brian even filled out a full lineup, and so it would have been really easy to give it to him back-to-back weeks. His team was so bad.
11th hour full lineup.
Yeah, but
full lineup needing Colt McCoy.
yeah. So, but I got to give it to Junior for being so consistent all season. For like I said, he had the I was just going back and looking at like everybody's like low scores. You know what I mean? And his lowest score, I think I posted, was like 84 or something like that. You know what I mean? That was like the worst week he had up until this point. And up until Monday night, I mean, he was sitting in the 50s. So, you know what I mean? He did a little bit of work to kind of get him. He didn't quite get to 70. So he has he's got a 60 point, a 60 something point game in the books now, which puts him right there with everybody else. And it just, it breathed life into
And
Brennan.
you
And it
can't
was
just blame an injury. The Mixon injury hurt him, but he played. He got like 6 or 7 points. That's as many as you usually get anyway in
yeah,
running back. So it
no,
was just a team effort that got him below 70.
well, the Jets were terrible, right?
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah. Josh Allen was pedestrian, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not a Josh Allen game. He played the Cincinnati defense against Pittsburgh, and then that bit him. Even though Cincinnati won,
It was good for
like,
a while, but they let him score
yeah,
those garbage points.
yep. And even Tucker, 7 points for Tucker. Like Baltimore just hasn't been scoring a ton of points lately.
No.
So, but so I'll give it to Junior, and he'll bounce back. He'll probably be fine. But that's a way to see yourself. If anybody in the top 4 would have won, his power ranking spot would have been in jeopardy.
Yeah. Yeah. But they didn't.
Mm-mm.
But Junior could be in trouble. Little teaser for what's going to come in a little bit.
Yeah. So, yeah, so let's just go back through, recap really quick. We touched on some of them. We had Josh took care of the Lumberjacks. Ed gave it a fighting try, almost got to 100 points. Hurts and Pollard were great. He played a running back from Indy that just didn't, Taylor was the freight train there, got nothing from him. And so, and Josh just got huge game from Devontae Adams, huge game from Burrow, huge game from his kicker, Maurer. So great job by Josh being relevant. Like we said, only the second time he scored 100 points, and no time like the present. Like he needed every bit of it. And so, because Josh is fighting two things, right? It's like he needs wins, but he needs points too, because he's so low on points. So so every little bit helps. Next matchup, Polk High School versus Heim Time Industries. Brian did swoop in there and fill out his full lineup.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, it didn't matter.
He would have thought of that. Like, I think I listed on the write-up like a number of quarterbacks that he could have picked up earlier and been able to play. I think everybody knew Murray wasn't going to play. Like, maybe he thought he was, but
he wasn't ruled out until Monday, though.
Yeah, but he didn't practice at all. Like, sometimes you just feel like the way things are leaning.
But he was also in Tennessee. He was down at Rocky Top for his son's football tournament. So
no excuses.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. But but there's a trend here. He's like been
MIA. Yeah, and
at the wrong time.
And there's a lot of teams that would kill to have his lineup, his roster.
Yeah.
So you'd hate to see it go to waste here.
So Danny's win doesn't mean much for him, but it does knock Brian down a peg. And I mean, he would have to lose out, I think, at this point. But hey, he could do it.
Yeah. So then we got Rennie versus Lee, and man, that was a shootout. Lee made it interesting, scoring 70 points on Monday night, but too little, too late.
Can you believe, like, if you score 70 points on Monday night, you don't think you would ever lose?
It would have helped me, wouldn't it? If I would have scored 70 points on Monday night,
I think you would have done pretty well.
Yeah, it would have all came from one player, but still. Rennie got his running backs back on track. Like, those two guys had kind of had some down weeks.
Yeah.
Especially Jacobs of Las Vegas had done poorly. But man, the combination of Travis Kelce, Henry, Rogers, Jacobs, like those guys just really carried the load for Rennie. Huge game for Rennie. Man, Garoppolo, great plug in by Lee.
Yeah. I mean,
but just not enough.
Not enough. I mean, 108 would have beat just about everybody else.
7-4, he's got to feel pretty good about himself.
Yeah. I mean, you're this late in the season, you're still scoring above 100.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you just tip your cap and say, I feel pretty good that I could beat most teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we got Sundance Kid versus Off All Weekend. We talked about this one a little bit. We talked about Junior's failures.
Brennan gives him a fighting chance.
Brennan gives himself a fighting chance. He has some real lineup issues. He's got to find a quarterback. So I don't. We'll see what happens. Again, might be too late for Brennan, but gives himself a chance. We'll talk a little bit more about like who has a chance and what the schedule's like and everything coming down the stretch. So, Red Kingdom versus Flex. Adam was in control of this thing the entire way.
Just 40-point beatdown, 40 plus.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, everybody was talking about the wide receivers being missing from Kansas City, and that is it Kadarius Toney? Adam doesn't like it when I don't pronounce the Kansas City run players' names correctly.
Well, they got hard names. They got hyphens. They got weird vowels.
Yeah. So not a single point from him.
Yeah.
Right. So I understand why he would plug him in and start him, but I was surprised he didn't score at all.
He was the big name, the hot pickup, but it didn't materialize. And that's the risk you take with Kansas City because they got so many guys.
Yeah.
But he plugs in, on a week where the big the big Charger news was Allen and Williams were both going to play. And Adam plugs in Palmer and he scores 22 points.
Yeah.
And I see Williams get one catch and hurt himself. Allen had a decent game. He made some big catches, but he didn't get all the points that Palmer got.
Yeah.
I mean, that 22 points right there from your third wide receiver. It's pretty sweet.
Yep. And so then it was you versus me. Quarterback play was pretty even. You had the slight advantage in the running back play, but Connor did. That's actually a pretty good running back score for me.
Yeah.
Drake didn't do much. Obviously, would have been better if I would have went with. Pacheco.
What did I win by?
20. 19.
So it would have been closer. That last Baltimore drive where Drake tried to get it in, but then Lamar ran it in.
Yeah. And there was a lot of plays like that, like for guys on my team, right? There was like, plenty of opportunity. Herbert had plenty of opportunities to score touchdowns that he didn't, right?
Yeah.
And I got a gift, Peoples-Jones scoring that one at the very, very end of that game. You know what I mean? So lots of little things there, but
I think the big letdown was probably Denver D versus the horrible.
Yeah, because the entire game they were doing just fine. You know what I mean? 6, 8, 10 points like that would have been like just fine, and then all of a sudden they give up. The game goes overtime. They go into so they give up like 6 points there towards the end, and it just it unraveled. So and so that's a 12-point swing for you. You got 13 from your defense. I get 1 from mine in a 20-point matchup where like you said, my kicker kind of was the star of the day. So
yeah, I was like, man, this guy just keeps kicking.
Yeah. So, but all right. Well, so that's it. And just so we'll jump here real quick, just so everybody's kind of aware. Junior at 8-3 is I don't know if he clinched because he was supposed to win and he didn't win. So I think he might need one more game to clinch. Not sure if that's true or not, but so then it's Junior, then myself at 7-4, Lee at 7-4, Then Brian at 6-5. We got a bunch of teams at 6-5. Brian, Rennie, Adam, Dave, all at 6-5. And then coming in at 8th place is Vote Flex at 5-6. He stands alone at that with that record. And then the 4 teams fighting for relevance is Ed first at 4-7, Rademacher second at 4-7, Brennan at 4-7, and Polk High School at 3-8. Basically, I would say that 8th spot, if I'm being honest, that 8th spot, I feel like it's between Travis, Ed, and Josh. I feel like that those are the 3 most likely teams. I guess I could throw you in there as well. But then if I do that, I'm going all the way up to Brian at 6-5. I mean, anybody if they lost their next 3, that's 6-5. You know what I mean? And they ended up at 6-8. That would be tough for sure.
I mean, a lot can happen, but you have to lose a lot at 6-5 to.
Well, and we got teams that play each other and all that kind of stuff. So, but I
mean,
so that's the standings. And
I'm not writing my ticket just yet, but
no, but like I really feel like it's going to come down to those 3 teams. But you kind of did some research on who everybody plays and who kind of maybe has an easier path. Did you look at everybody, or did you just like pick a group of teams that you think kind of on the bubble?
I looked at 11 teams.
Okay. So sorry, Danny.
Sorry, Danny. So what I did was I have 3 positive categories and 3 negative categories. And there's a billion ways you could do this, and you can, if you don't like it, you can make up your own, right? Hey, You're free to do that. But I was trying to come up with a way. And so I have winning record. Okay. So there's 7 teams with a winning record. I have the top 3. So that's a category, the top 3 places, because I just felt like 8-3, 7-4, 7-4. It was a good distinction. And then I have top 4 scorers, and those are all 4 people that are above 1,100.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are the 3 positive.
That means you're averaging over 100 points a game.
Yeah. And so those are the 3 positives. So I put all those, anybody that fits any of those, I put those like a category by their name.
Yep.
And then I have 3 negatives. The negatives are losing record. There's 4 teams with those. The lowest are 4 teams with the lowest scores, and they're all below 1,000. So in the 900s, or below. Because I felt like that significant above 1,100, because there's a bunch of teams that are in between there. And then the 3rd negative category is Danny.
Yeah.
And so
he's in a category of his own.
So you get a +1 if you play against somebody that has the positive categories. You get a -1 if you play against somebody that has the negative categories. And so I just went through, added it up, and the most beneficial person for the next 3 weeks would be Rennie at -7.
Okay.
Look at who he plays. He plays Josh, Danny, and Brennan, and they're all negatives.
Right.
So that's 7 negative points. So he's got the most favorable. Then it goes to Ed at -4, Adam at -2, and then the rest of us are all pluses. And I kind of did it by, if there was ties, it was how many of the top 3 you had to play. Like start with Junior, then then
I have a feeling where this is going for me, but I won't spoil anything that you're saying.
Yeah, you got to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
So then we have Lee, Brian, and Travis all at +2. Then we have Brennan and Josh and you at +3, and I have you at the bottom because you play Junior.
Yeah.
I think you play.
I played Junior and Lee.
You play Junior and Lee, so you were at the bottom because you have 2 of the top 3 that you're going up against, and you being one of the other ones. So there's only 2 other people that you could play, and you play them.
Yeah.
And then we have me sitting at +4 and Junior of all people.
So who do you play? So
I have Junior, and he has 3 positives, so that's 3 right there. I have Brian, who has 2 positives, and then I have Ed, so I come back down 1.
Okay.
So I start with 5, and then I lost, come down to 1.
Yeah.
But I'm 2 in a row with Junior, then Brian. And then Junior's, it's kind of funny that sitting at the top, he's at +5. He's got the worst because he's got me. I only have 1 plus category, but then you have 2 and Brian has 2. So he's +5. He's got all, So if any of you, Lee, maybe even some of the 6 and 5 teams, Junior's got a tough schedule according to this criteria. If he loses out, first place is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Even if he loses the next 2, first place is up for grabs.
Yeah. He had a chance this week. Now he didn't come close because he only scored, you know what I mean? Like I said, he didn't take advantage of it. But with the 3 other teams, Brian, Lee, myself, all losing, man, he could have wrapped it up. You know what I mean? Like getting a 2-game lead plus having all those points, that would have been a huge thing for him if we all lose and he would have won, but he didn't. He lost. So then the top 4 teams. So like last week, really for the top half of the standings, really just stayed static. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We allowed everybody in the middle to close the gap a little bit, but nothing moved there for us.
So, I mean, obviously you could look at things like, if anybody has anybody left on bye week, or
right, yeah, you didn't dive
lineup
that far
injuries.
into,
I didn't dig down that deep because we're all kind of in the same boat on that. But this is just based on what's happened so far and what the trends have been for the first 12, like this many weeks, 11 weeks.
And I think I'm right, Dave. The buys are going to go all the way through the end of our regular season. Is that right?
I think so.
All the way through week 14.
Because I think Atlanta.
I think I was looking.
I don't think Atlanta's had theirs. New Orleans hasn't had theirs.
No, I've got guys on bye the last week of the season.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, not like major, impact players, but still like.
But I mean, that goes both ways. So it's tough to have them at the end, but you've had them this whole time. So, you could have gotten
now for
a
me,
better
it's
record.
like it's little stuff. It's like kickers, tight ends, people I got plugged in right now for defense. But yeah, like imagine if you're. I don't know who's got that week 14 bye, like what teams it is, but imagine if you got your quarterback the first 13 weeks of the season, you didn't ever have to like sub them out. Like that's an advantage, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can, especially if you want to get a bunch of wins early in the middle,
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm not sure how many teams have buys left.
Well, there's no bye this week, so that's one of the things they
Okay.
changed. Yeah, so everybody plays Thanksgiving week. So I think I'm right with that.
So we have, you're right. Week 13, it's just Arizona and Carolina, and then week 14, it's the big one. There's it's Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Washington.
That's that's going to be major players. So the week that matters the most in fantasy football. So here's my suggestion to everybody. Lock up your playoff spot early, okay?
Or hope that you play a team that has a bunch of these people on week 14 and you can get a win.
Absolutely. Imagine going into the last week and you're Brennan and now all of a sudden you don't have Taylor.
Yeah, and he's just getting good,
Yeah. Now if you can make it to the playoffs, you have him, but you don't have him. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, or if Rodgers is really playing great and Rennie's season's on the line and he has to go with somebody else.
Yeah.
Week 14. If you were really banking on Andy Dalton to secure your week 14, he ain't gonna be there because he's on bye.
No. If you picked up a kicker that's scoring like 12 points a game for you, and then
week 14,
got to pick up a new one. I got to go back to that Vegas kicker that doesn't score any points.
There you go. So yeah, that does factor in, and so I didn't factor that into any of this, but I don't know. I thought 3 positives, 3 negatives. I think it's somewhat of a representation. You could also just be like, you could look at Rennie and be like, oh, Rennie plays Josh, Danny, and Brennan. They're way at the bottom,
Yeah.
And intuitively, you'd be like, oh, that's easier. But this is more, a little bit of statistics behind it.
Yeah. So, this is our Thanksgiving episode. We didn't kind of jump out and say that. So we've got 3 big games on Thursday, which are going to be a ton of fun. It goes without saying, if you're watching this podcast tomorrow morning, instead of the Macy's Day Parade, that you've already got your lineup stuff, figured out. But to the rest of you, got to get on there early. Nobody should be on bye, so you don't have that issue.
Yeah.
But
there's some injuries out there, but there's way more people available.
There's some guys that have been benched. There's some, a bunch of different things happening.
Those guys that got cut from their team.
Yeah. Who knew?
They got shown the door.
And he cleared waivers, so he can sign with anybody he wants now.
Yeah.
Or I can drop him.
Yeah, he can.
So, all right, let's run through this. Polk High School and the Lumberjacks, that obviously favors Ed, right? This is one of those positive things for Ed. If you're fighting for a playoff spot this week, at least, he gets a chance to gain some ground. He could get to 5-7, which is one step closer to being in a playoff spot. So, that should be really good. Obviously, anytime you're talking about Ed and Danny, we're just asking the question, like, are they putting out their best lineup possible, right?
Yeah.
Especially with 3 teams going on Thursday,
I only have the main screen up, and I see that they both have 9 people, but their projections are like really low. So I haven't dug down to see why that is.
Yeah. So it could just be because those are the guys they got, or it could be the guys that are on IR or whatever it is. But Danny and Ed, if you're watching this, happy Thanksgiving. Set your lineup, okay? Then we've got one that, maybe matters a little bit more. Discount Double Check and Rennie, who just came off a really big week, but so did Josh.
Yeah.
And so if, you wouldn't have said it a couple weeks ago, but big matchup for Josh, obviously, because it's got playoff implications for him. But if he can sustain that kind of scoring, this could be a real shootout because Rennie's shown that he can put up big numbers.
Yeah.
So they're both projected in the mid 90s. So we'll see if kind of what happens with that. Now we've got Brian versus Brennan, and just off the optics of it, it looks like Brian's went in and fixed any of his lineup problems because he's got projected 105 against Brennan's 89. So for Brennan,
is it smoke and mirrors though? Well, so they have Chase projected at 13.5. First game back after he could be on a pitch count. He could be, there's no reason to kill him. Like you got Higgins is doing good and Boyd's doing good. And now if Mixon's out, that, so that seems a little high. Not that he can't do it. He's perfectly capable. He's Chase, but that seems a bit high. The rest of it, Chubb's always projected that high, and maybe that's accurate. Barkley, I can't really argue with any of that, I guess.
Yeah.
The Chase.
But Brendan's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
Going against Brian, just going against those running backs, that's a tough thing. And we'll see if Kyler plays. So
yeah, that's the thing. And if he does, he's got to choose between. Well, he'd have to. Cousins plays Thursday, so he would have to choose to play Cousins tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Right.
And he probably won't do that. He'll wait.
He's already adjusted his lineup because he started the other guy.
Yeah.
He started.
But if he finds out
he started Colt McCoy, so he's already gone in and made adjustments for the week. Yeah.
So he's got McCoy, but but would you rather start Cousins or McCoy if you had to start?
Oh, I would.
If you knew that Murray wasn't playing, I don't know. McCoy's maybe he didn't light up the place, but
yeah. Then we got big matchup: 6-5 Adam versus 7-4 Lee. Lee had a down week, but these guys are projected to score right about the same. Big quarterback advantage for Adam, but Lee definitely has the running back / wide receiver advantage. So we'll see what ends up happening with that one.
Yeah, but Stevenson's kind of tailed off a little bit for New England, which is kind of he was doing really well for a hot stretch there.
Yeah.
But Kittle proved that he's back to possibly being good.
And you got Diggs and CeeDee Lamb. He's got some studs.
But this matchup probably, it'll determine for sure whether Adam can get another, have a chance at another, regular season championship. He pretty
Yep.
much has to win. Lee, it really help him to win. He, if Junior loses enough, Lee would still be in the running because he's, only a game back of him, but 2 games back Adam is. So he really needs to get the win now if he's going to try to catch Junior.
So next we have you versus Junior. You've already shown off your wares. You want to show everybody again what you got?
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, you got.
That's my plan.
Dave's ready. What scent is that, by the way?
Cocoa butter. That's just pure cocoa butter. I don't mess around with any scents.
Yeah, there you go. So
that's just wrong.
Yeah. Well.
Oh well. I'm not above it.
How do you feel about Lamar Jackson? I mean, you got a favorable matchup with Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, and I'm a little worried about whether Fields is healthy, and he was 20 points less than he had been the last 2 weeks.
I don't think Fields is going to play, right?
I'm kind of wondering that myself. So I'm, there's worse things than to fall back on Lamar. So I mean, but he hasn't been lighting up the place. So
yeah,
I'm kind of, and I don't know. McCaffrey's pretty solid. He's always going to give me 12 to 15 on a bad day. But it's that whole Gibson versus Singletary, and I don't have any other options until I picked up this white guy that hopefully that if Fournette never ever doesn't play, but I'm not going to start him. So
yeah. So, what are the odds that Mixon plays? Do you know?
I don't know. He didn't practice today, and that's all that.
Yeah.
Their coach, they don't say much. So
right.
But if he doesn't, who does he have? He's got Mitchell, Carter, Wilson. I mean, I'd rather have Mixon than any of those. So yeah, it would probably help me if Mixon doesn't play. Having Higgins and Lockett both back in. I'm kind of excited about Slayton now. He's like their only receiver now.
Yeah,
because the rookie got hurt.
So this is the one time, Dave, where everyone in the league is rooting for you.
Yeah,
except for Junior.
Except for Junior.
Yeah, there's 11 teams that want you to win.
I got San Francisco going against New Orleans. Has Andy Dalton ever thrown a pick six that you can remember?
Wait, is the game on television?
It is on television. It's a 4:25.
4:25. So that's the prime time of the Sunday game. So everybody will be watching it. Oh, he's good for at least 2 picks.
Okay. And maybe they take one back to the house.
And so, maybe they take one back to the house.
I got a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
But also, Dave, he also threw 3 touchdowns last week.
Yeah,
and right when you count on him to do something for you, he might do something against you.
Well, I don't have another defense, and the chances of me picking up another defense right now that has a better shot isn't very good.
Yeah, well, San Francisco's pretty tough, so I like your odds.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, Junior's got a good team. I'm not saying I'm not doing a spotlight matchup that says I'm going to kill him 150-2 by any means. But
I think everybody would love to see it if you did. Yeah,
I think so too. Especially like you and Lee, people with a chance to catch him.
Yeah. Then we've got me versus Travis.
Yeah.
Quiet Travis. He just plays fantasy football and doesn't talk.
No, he never says a word about anything. He's just been hanging around that 8th spot. Nobody can knock him out. But this would be the week. He's got 3 teams vying for him, and he doesn't have enough points to survive, a loss and one of them to win. They could, if they score enough, they could catch him.
No, and I mean, we are really close with our projections. I like Tua over Prescott, but Prescott could have a big game.
Yeah. They put up 50 points again, or I don't know, 40 or against Minnesota.
He's got the clear running back advantage. I tip my hat to him. He's got clear running back advantage. I have a slight wide receiver advantage, but he's got good wide receivers. It's not like he's got, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Brown has had a 30-point game before.
Yeah, he doesn't have Adam level wide receivers. He's got actual good wide receivers. And then I don't love like his his kicker scored like 60 points the other day, so it's like,
Yeah. But yours
you know,
scored 12, so
yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens. What happens there? I would love for Buffalo to just score nothing but touchdowns, and then like that way he's not kicking a bunch of field goals against Detroit. So, but
that
Detroit's won 3 in a
that
row.
would pretty much guarantee a loss for me.
Yeah, well, not if they're all by Singletary.
That's true. That's true. Woohoo! So yeah, you've
So
proven to get more wins and more points throughout the season. This is a game you should win.
I like
You
my
should
chances.
beat people that are below you. You should.
Yes.
At this stage
Got
of
it.
the season.
Gotta get a win here. And my lineup was not at full strength last week. I got no. If I don't do something, it's my own fault this week.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have not been a team that's left a ton of points on the bench either. It's
Yeah.
like it's all like it's these guys or it's nobody. So
Yeah.
I did so Clyde's Edward-Helaire they put on IR. So now
Yeah.
it's all on this running back from Kansas
I mean,
City.
they got McKinnon. They'll probably mix in there, but I think they're going to give him. He looked good. I mean, the only, it's that same issue that you got 2 Kansas City, which is fine.
But you
there's
have
so
to
many other
understand,
ones.
like for me though, I'm not looking for 20 points out of my running backs or like 10 points is a gift for me.
Yeah.
So if I have a running back get 100 yards, like I feel like that's a victory.
There you go.
But we'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, man, big Thanksgiving games that are happening. Just to remind everybody, we got Bills Lions kicks off first at 12:30 tomorrow. Then we've got Giants Cowboys, and then Patriots Vikings to round out the night. Then we got a bunch of Sunday games. The Sunday night game is Packers Eagles, and then Monday Night Football concludes with Steelers Colts. So it should be a fun weekend of football for everybody.
Yeah.
So Adam had proposed a side bet for Thanksgiving week, and my life has just been so chaotic that I wasn't able to kind of put it all together. It would take quite a bit of work, but
What? I didn't even see it.
Well, no, he texted me
okay.
And said, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
Do you still owe him money?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I get it to him. Yeah, checks in the mail, Adam. So it's like a crypto account. It's safe. It's like a savings account.
It can only go up.
Yes.
So there's a possible, if you have time, you'll release this possible side bet.
Not for Thanksgiving week, but we will do it coming up. It would be a lot of fun. So his concept is really good. We're going to use it.
Okay.
So start 11 players. Okay. 11 players. So Travis is going to love this. All right. You get to start 1 quarterback, 3
From
running.
Your own team.
Listen,
or just
hold on.
Oh, okay.
Okay. 1 quarterback, 3 running backs, 4 wide receivers, tight end, kicker, defense. Okay. 1 player for each one of those positions you have to choose from somebody else's team. 1 player per team. So can't pick one of your own players. That leaves 11 teams out there. So I have to fill that chart in with a player from each person's roster.
Wow. So you can't use any of your own.
Can't use any of your own, and you have to use 1. So you'd have to look at Danny's team, and you'd have to pick a player off Danny's team that you wanted to play. He'd have to fill one of those spots in.
So then you start thinking, all right, there's probably some obvious ones. Everybody's probably going to pick this guy. So if you want a possible advantage, pick a different guy.
Well, and you would look at whatever week we were in. Maybe you were like, oh, Buffalo's playing San Francisco. I don't want to play Josh Allen against, I don't know that, or just a really good defense, right? You'd be like, I don't want, or they're playing outdoors. It's going to be snowing. Like, I want to play, I want to play somebody in a dome, or what I mean, whatever it is. Like you would
But if
just look
teams
at all
end up
those
with
things.
pretty similar lineups, that's just the luck of the draw.
Well, you would never end up with an exact replica
No.
lineup because
No.
you have to pick somebody like the way that it would
It
rotate.
could all be, but they could all be the same but one.
Right. It could. But just like I guess some of those DraftKings fantasy
two, I
things, you try to differentiate yourself, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so it would be each participant would choose 11 players, and we would use our fantasy stats to calculate like what they scored for the week. And
who's doing the math?
So, well, that's what I think. I was like, so we'd have to create a entry form, and then Adam obviously would have to track it, or Brennan, because they're the two people, and you would have to be responsible for the money because Adam doesn't trust me anymore. So we will have
why
to
would
set up. Yeah, exactly.
Why would he?
So, but yeah, so look for that, and coming up, and this would have been the perfect week to do it. So I apologize, Adam.
Yeah.
Because nobody's on bye.
Yeah, that's true.
But we could do it. Here's what we'll do. We'll kind of like mark this. We'll target it for week 15. So then, like, even if you're out of the playoffs,
that's true.
You get to be in. So this will be a side bet. What's the word I'm looking for? Consolation, right?
There you
this
go.
Is like everybody's still in. Gives you a reason to not drop players, or like So we'll target that for week 15. Adam, sorry I didn't get a chance to put that together, and he texted me in plenty of time. Like he texted me like a month ago. So, but that's all.
So are we gonna talk about it?
About the
you were
loss?
Pretty mad at me about these power rankings.
Oh, the power rankings. So no, it really didn't have. I mean, it had a little to do with me. I didn't like being ranked 5th, but I felt like the top 4 teams in the league, like by standings, all 4 lost, and then all of a sudden, like, Rennie and Adam win 1 week, and then they just like fly up to 2nd and 3rd. It felt reactionary. It felt real reactionary, like where they had lost the week before and they just stood right where they were at. Nobody moved. And so I was just like, it just felt like maybe we got some criticism from Adam a week ago about not enough movement was happening, and then all of a sudden they both get a win. And I know they scored a lot of points. They scored, you know what I mean? But like, I scored a lot of points, or I won 3 weeks in a row, and it's not like I vaulted up to, you know what I mean? So it seemed like the movement seemed a little out of characteristic for like how things had moved throughout the entire season.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you did make a good point about
because in yours, the one that you turned in, you had Lee above Rennie.
I did, and that would have been the one that if I would have thought about it, if I 2 seconds longer, I probably would have, based on the way I was thinking about things. I felt like it was a big week for Adam. He beat, he got high points. Now beating Travis. Travis was technically a playoff team, so it's not a gift win, but it wasn't as tough a win as what Rennie's was.
Do you have what you submitted in front of you?
Yeah. I had Junior, Adam, Lee, Rennie, you, me, Brian, Travis, Josh, Ed. Brian, I dropped pretty far because of 2 weeks of craziness. Even though his record and his points are still there, I kind of dropped him, and I'm the only one that's won 2 weeks in a row. So if you're going this late in the season, I feel like 2 wins in a row with only 3 weeks left is, that's worth jumping over Brian, because he's had some sketchy weeks.
Well, so the reason, I mean, the biggest reason I think that both of us dropped Brian in the power rankings is because of what seemed to be 2 weeks in a row of like just like abandoning his lineup.
Yeah, like
Like
not paying attention.
so there was some smoke there, and like you said, like had he paid more attention to it this week, he probably could have put together a lineup that maybe would have competed.
And I
and
don't know
won.
that like Adam, Lee, and Rennie jumping you was as much what they did, although they did score a lot and you didn't. It was more you. I mean, you got beat by a team that was way down below you.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 spots, so I felt like that was you dropped a little bit.
So,
but that's where you do yours, I do mine, it evens out, right? It worked out.
It worked out. Like, and I try to fill mine out without looking at yours. So I'm not trying to like have it like be, inconsistent. You know
Well,
what
I
mean?
waited until I was busy.
So I
didn't get it till like 1:30. Normally I have it to you by 9 or 10. So I figured you'd have had yours done.
Yeah, well, Tuesday, especially as past like the last few, like Tuesdays is the day that for me that's like the most busy. So it's the hardest. I need to just do the Monday night after the game because I'm up late watching usually anyway. It would be easier, but so anyway, power rankings are fun. They don't mean anything. They're not going to be what gets you into the playoffs or not. But Adam did say that we're and I hadn't even looked in a while at the ESPN projections, but
that's what I was getting ready to go to because I don't get it. Like I'm on board with, like, I've won 2 weeks in a row and they still think I'm going to finish 9th.
Yeah. They don't like
what? Really?
The only thing I could say is that like maybe they value points over wins.
Maybe. But
so yeah, kind of weird.
I just like I mean, I could. Yeah, is it possible for me to drop the 9th? Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. So, all right, Dave. I hope you and your family have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody watching has a great Thanksgiving. I hope that you're able to accomplish your goal this week, Dave. And if you are, I think we will all celebrate. Yeah. I guess the only people that won't celebrate are Josh, Brennan, and Ed, right?
And the thing is, if I do, then and anybody's like getting on and looking at the app or looking at the website and tracking the points, then you're watching me do this the whole weekend. Put that in your head. Yeah.
Everybody gets to watch along.
Yeah, Brennan, he pulled it off. Yeah. Great, great time, great weekend.
It was, yeah. So, all right. Well, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more fantasy football daily analysis.
Look at this, a cool, crisp, like 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
We got in and out. Yep. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Good luck.
Bye, all 4 of you.